Into the race with the pit lane as there side by side. Jonathan Hogarth tries to gain ground up on the inside line there against 21 of Josh Mason. The Lannon car versus the Fortec car, similar liveries but different teams as Pedersen leads. Ravishankar in second place as they come down.
Mason, he's been picking his way up the field as well after that pit stop during the safety car. We had a bit of a scrappy run out of Murray's that time, and so the recovering Pavan Ravishankar is to the outside of him. Behind him is Benjamin Pedersen, the orange machine, and Ravishankar goes right round the outside. Can he keep it on the island? Just someone in front of them doesn't know. That was the 35 car, wasn't it, of Wright, Chris Wright,
the inside.
Yeah, Ravishankar's still trying to sort of go right around the outside of Josh Mason here, isn't he? He's finally got the inside line for a corner, and actually, ironically, at that corner, Mason sweeps back in front of him.
Yeah,
so
Josh Mason beginning to look a bit racy here.
Yeah.
I think he's had enough of the luck he's been dealt so far today. Ooh. Big lock up right ahead of him.
He's currently running in 16th places there. There's another effort being made diving down towards Stoke Corner because on the inside line 21 Josh Mason goes through, others go way out wide. Hampus Eriksson
now effectively becomes a safety car. He has to choose now when to pull the pin and surprise everybody else. It's either a case of he can pull away on a good restart and catch everyone napping, or the likes of Mason, Asman, Pedersen will see it coming and be straight on his gearbox by the time he puts his foot down.
Well, he's certainly leaving a big gap to the safety car, isn't he? So I think he's planning maybe on going early here. But we'll wait and see. He's heading into the Melbourne hairpin now. He won't accelerate just yet. Maybe on the exit of the corner. Josh Mason giving him no breathing room at all. And further back, Manuel Maldonado trying to have a peek to the inside to see what's going on. Now the pin has been pulled and they're accelerating towards the final corner. No overtaking though until they cross the start-finish line. Preferably no locking up either, Manuel. He gathers that all together and they stay single file out of the hairpin, racing back underway then at the completion of lap number 3. Pavan Ravishankar with a good restart. Josh Mason not quite able to go with him. And remember, Mason is on older tyres, but Ravishankar on cold tyres has locked up, runs wide at Redgate corner and hands the race lead away to Josh Mason. And he will possibly lose second place to Nazim Asman as well, who's trying to squeeze up the inside. 2 wheels almost on the grass. He can't quite make it stick. That was a mistake, I'm sure, Scott, on cold tyres, and what a costly mistake it was.
Yeah, Mason sprinting off into the lead. Pavan Ravishankar just didn't get enough heat into the tyre. But at the moment in time, it looks that Josh Mason has this race under control. But Ravishankar might still have the advantage of new tyres. We head out of the old hairpin for the final time. The gap between the top 3, incredibly, at this last stage is 1.1 seconds. But with half a lap to go, you sense either it will stay as it is or something might just be about to kick off in the closing stages.
Well, I think if anyone's likely to make a move, it may be that man there, Manuel Maldonado, because once again he's closed in on Pavan Ravishankar through the middle part of the lap. Gets a good exit from Coppice too. He'll get a toe down the back straight. If he can get a really good exit from this next chicane, the third place man might be able to make a move. Josh Mason looking good out in front though, had a 7/10 of a second advantage at the start of the lap. It looks something similar, I would say, through the chicane. He was actually 3/10 slower than Ravishankar through the first sector, but Pavan is now really having to drive defensively to hang on to second position. He'll be slow off the corner as a result of this. Keep an eye to Novalak in fourth as well, because he is right with them and may yet be able to pick the pocket of one or both of these drivers into the final corner. Josh Mason leading the way side by side almost for second place between Ravishankar and Maldonado. It's going to be a drag race to the line, but I don't think they're going to get there. The 8th different winner of the season though is Josh Mason, his first ever British Formula 3 race win.
Crucial, but I think Josh Mason and the team are pretty happy about the result, and why not?
Well, quite rightly so. His first ever victory in the BRDC British Formula 3 Championship. But again, we made the point that yes, it's a reverse grid race, but for potential sponsors or potential teams that he's looking to try and impress, he can now legitimately put on his CV race winner British Formula 3. And given how competitive this season is, that is a genuine achievement, isn't it, reverse grid or not?
And the thing is, well, with a racing driver, no matter how they come, you always want to say you've been a race winner in a particular championship. Josh can now say that, as can obviously 7 others this season as well. But for Josh, that will be a moment he won't forget. His first British F3 victory.
To get to the inside if you can into Lacombe, and from that point on, it's a relatively easy move. So it is Verhagen that leads the way. Ravishankar is second. Third position, I think, is Andreas Essner, despite that wide run through the first corner. Yes, it is. That is the number 16 car, followed by Josh Mason in fourth place. Running wide there, just behind them, was possibly Benjamin Pedersen, I think. Yes, it was the number 20 car. Off Josh Mason, his Lannon Racing teammate. Lannon have won just the one race this year, which was Josh Mason's win, as I said, in the reversed grid encounter at Donington last time out. Right now, those two drivers fighting for the bottom step of the podium. Race leader weaving around to try and break the toe, but it doesn't look as though Ravishankar's been able to do that. Josh Mason is already ahead of him before they hit the brakes, and then the race leader has a big lock-up as well. Did he make the corner? Yes, he did, just about, but he certainly will have had a bad run through the Lacombe sequence. A shuffle there at last source. It looks as though Kian Dewis was trying to take advantage of the situation developing in front of him. Right at the front of the field, though, Josh Mason is going quicker than Neil Verhagen. He's just set the fastest lap of the race and closed the gap down to just under 0.6 of a second. And look, he's right with him now. So Josh Mason, going for the race lead, has had a brilliant run out of Radion. He pulls alongside and he's through already. So Josh Mason gets himself ahead of Neil Verhagen. This is the sort of slipstreaming action we were hoping to see here at Spa, and that's exactly what we've seen. Mason's a bit tardy through the chicane, but gets back over to the race and sitting duck. That slipstream is so powerful, and Verhagen's got another run on Mason now. Pulls alongside to the outside line, down to the chicane. This is a brave move to make, but he's done it. So 2 lead changes in half a lap. Fantastic racing, and this is bringing Pavan Ravishankar back into play as well. Also, the 4th place man, Andreas Essner, is joining in the fun. And what could soon become a 5 or 6 car lead train is only getting tighter together. And now we head into another slipstreaming opportunity up the hill towards Blanchimont. And can Josh Mason maybe start to build up another attack? Fantastic stuff, this. 8 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock as well, so plenty of time for this to keep on chopping and changing. There's Jonathan Hoggard, by the way, just behind the orange car of Benjamin Pedersen. So Hoggard is ahead of Ulysse de Pove now, as the leaders are indeed now side by side into the bus stop chicane, and Josh Mason trying to make this 3 lane changes in a lap, and he does it as well. Nicely done. Charge around the outside is Andreas Essner, who gains 2 positions. No, Verone around the outside of 2 cars from 5th to 3rd. That was one of the moves of the race. He goes ahead of Andreas Essner. Race in 3rd position. But it's another solid podium there for Neil Verhagen. That will be his 4th podium of the year from 5 race meetings. 2nd place goes to Josh Mason. Josh Mason not quite able to replicate his victory last time out, but it is his 2nd podium appearance. But for Nico Verone, leading 3 now, taking advantage of that battle to pull away Asman, Simmons and Mason. Through the first sector, it is Asman that's quicker than anybody else. Through the middle sector, though, it is Mason in 3rd that's quicker than the pair of them. So they're definitely continuing together, the top 3, and there you can see it visually on the screen. Through clearways then onto the pit straight, and Paddock Hill Bend in these cars really is the best overtaking opportunity. A good exit from clearways, get in the slipstream, and then all 4 used tyres. That might well hurt him as we get into the race, which is about to get underway then. The cars lined up on the grid, the revs are starting to rise. Roberto Faria and Alex Force, 2 newcomers to the championship on the front row. Force does not get a good start. Josh Mason does though. Josh Mason in the 21 car pulls up alongside for the race lead, and Mason might be able to go through. Yes, he does. Josh Mason gets the advantage. Steaming round the outside there is Louis Foster in the blue and black number 26 car. He slots into 3rd position, and Caleb Frederick, the yesterday's race winner, on the...
His first podium of the year. Josh, back on the podium after a while, that must be a good feeling.
Yeah, it's a good feeling. Just a shame they had such a good start. They made a mistake in the chicane that Louis got through. But no, I'm happy with the results. Obviously, being quite fast in testing, then yesterday had no pace at all. So I was quite down for that, but this podium is making me a little bit happier.
Great start as well. You took the lead at the first corner. Did you think you had it in the bag in the first lap?
It's hard to say, because when I looked at my mirror, it had a bit of a gap. But by that point, it was just okay, just like get focused, just think about the race. But I just didn't get enough heat in that right tyre, so when I made a mistake, it cost me the win. So because I think Louis had a bit better pace than I did in the first half of the race, but in the second half we were catching it quite quickly. So it's hard to say, but no, I'm happy with the result there.
And nevertheless, a good boost to go into the second half of the season.
Yeah, it's a good start.
Good stuff. Thanks, Josh.
Josh gets better and better and better all the time in MRF Challenge. And another podium, Josh. Well done. You threw pretty much everything at Dylan, but you couldn't quite unsettle him.
Yeah, it was a very hot race. Just try to keep pressuring Dylan, but round here he'll pull away and I'll catch up, so it's a bit of a yo-yo effect. But no, I'm really happy with 3rd place. I'm looking forward to the next race.
It's a much better Josh Mason that's here this year than last. All the experience of British Formula 3 plus MRF Challenge. You're much more competitive this time.
Yeah, I think the British F3 last season helped me a lot because it was extremely competitive. So when I came here, I had a bit more confidence coming to this one, more mileage under my belt. And yeah, I'm showing people what I can do. And
Lights out, we go racing. Good start made from near the back by Sundaramurthy, who's already got past a couple of cars. And it's going to be number 71 then, Manif Hajawi, who leads down to turn 1 with round the outside Josh Mason going 2nd from 4th on the grid. So Good getaway by Josh Mason then as he heads up towards turn 2 on the outside line. He's in second, he's attacking for the race lead as well. The race leaders, Manaf Hijawi still under attack from Josh Mason as they drop down now towards turn 8, and Josh doing his best to apply the pressure to try and force a mistake out of Manaf Hijawi. Through they turn down towards the completion of lap number 8. Josh Mason, and he's just done the absolute best in the first sector, so he is still very determined indeed to find a way past the race leader Manaf Hijawi. Down they come now in towards the turn 8-9 sequence, and Josh Mason quicker by a 10th in sector 1. Louis Foster has done another absolute best, this time it's in sector 2, so if you can piece the lap together, the fastest lap of the race could well be going his way. Josh Mason has lost 200ths in sector 2, but now makes his move for the lead. Coming out of turn 10, he's on the outside at 11. He needs to get the switch back, which he does, but he's sideways. Can he stand his ground on the inside line? No, he cannot. Manaf Hijawi cuts across the front. Louis Foster's just gone by and has done the fastest lap of the race. Louis Foster then is 10th, but this for the race lead is Manaf Hijawi versus Josh Mason. Josh being forced out a little bit wide and onto the marbles coming out of turn 12. The gap is...
Everybody. Josh. So near and yet so far. I thought that was going to be your race, and that move you tried to make through 11 into 12 nearly worked.
Yeah, it almost worked, but he had it covered. Manaf drove really well. I was just waiting for him to make mistakes, so I tried pressure him, but he drove well, and congratulations to him.
And then you had the problem of having to sit in the dirty air. We saw on occasions the car just understeering a bit as it washed out. Big frustration.
Yeah, it's frustrating, but hey, it's racing. There's nothing I can do about it. Just have to keep him being consistent and get good results like this one.
But so far, it's not a bad day. We've had a third, a second, and there's another race to come, so...
Hopefully try and get first for this time, but if not, like, another podium will be good and a good point for the championship.
Josh, excellent. Well done. Josh Mason then takes second place